Genova. It is my honor and pleasure tonight to introduce you to this project that was launched by the Ambassador of Genova in the world. And our fearless leader, Francesco, talked earlier, is really the Deus in Machina in this whole thing. So a big round of applause for Giuseppe and Alessandra and Bocchio, who really helped for creating this. So my name is Vittorio Guerrero, and if this works, I work in Silicon Valley now for 25 years, but tonight I'm here as a representative of Genoa, as one of these 128 ambassadors. The Ambassador of Genova was designed to promote Genoa and its excellence around the world. So it's my pleasure to give back and be here tonight to introduce this project. So when we get together in context like this, right? This is the G20. And when we get together as across the world, we're here to solve very, very hard problems. And when you're about to solve a very hard problem, you're in the middle of it, it looks hard. You look at charts that go down and they're supposed to go up, or they're going up and they're supposed to go down, and it really sometimes daunting. But tonight, I want to show you some data that shows you that when you zoom out and you look over the years, most things in the world tend to get better. Right, so I'm going to give you some examples. So let's talk about literacy. Literacy is one of the ways we measure if the world is going in the right direction. So look at this. It's getting better and better and better. I guarantee you that when it was a G20 or G7, right here, looking at literacy, they were suffering, saying, oh my God, this is so hard. But then eventually it works. Scientific development. Exponential growth of the publication of scientific studies. This is great because science is at the base of how we solve these big problems over time. And then of course the ultimate way that we measure success, which is hunger. And of course we're never going to be happy as long as there's one person that is still suffering from hunger in the world. But again, we're going in the right direction. So a few years ago I read this book called Factfulness. And if you are devoting your life to public service, I strongly encourage you to read this book. It's going to open your mind and give you a lot of hope, because it collects a lot of data that shows that the world has never been better across hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these different measures. And you're probably sitting there and thinking, this guy is crazy. How can he say that the world has never been better while we are in the middle of a pandemic? And absolutely, it's a lot of suffering. It's horrible what we're experiencing right now. But I would argue that 10 years from now, we're going to look back and say, look, the pandemic was horrible, but in the process, we learned how to develop a vaccine in 1 year. And in the process, maybe we learn to be a little nicer to each other and come together as a regions and nation and the world to fight a common enemy. The other area that is not going in the right direction is global warming. Now, global warming, of course, there's always two sides to any argument, but the science is pretty definite about global warming. Global warming is going up, and the cause is CO2 emission of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And the results of this is that the temperature of the planet is going up. And even half a grade or 2 or 1.5 degree is too much for us to cope with. And wherever you look, this has already impacted our lives significantly. Just to give you some data, every year, this is statistics from 2015, there are 10 million people that die because of the pollution in the air, mostly caused by CO2 emissions. So think about that for a second. 10 million people die every year because of pollution in the air. And to put that in perspective, COVID, which we're in the middle of it, is horrible and it's heartbreaking, caused 4 million deaths from the beginning. So every year, we should go out there with the air on fire thinking, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. We are in a big emergency. That emergency is global warming. Now, I'm an optimist. I've been living in the US. They teach you to be optimists. I'm in Silicon Valley. We create a lot of innovation, a lot of great things, some bad things like Facebook, but mostly good things. And a week ago, I was having dinner with some venture capitalists. And venture capitalists are banks that have a lot of money, and they invest in the technology that will be developed in the next 10 years. And so I was asking them, how in the world do you know what's going to happen 10 years from now? You must be really, really smart. And to my surprise, and to some honesty, they told me, we have no clue. We don't really know where the world is going, but we get exposed to kids, to young entrepreneurs that do know. And they tell us because they need money. Right? So that's one source. The second source, they look at the people, the smartest people in the world, and where are they going after they graduate from the best colleges in the world. And you'll be surprised, right now, the top kids, the smartest people in the world, they're coming out of colleges, they go into 3 areas. Number 1, longevity, how to prolong our lives. Number 2, blockchain. And if you don't know what blockchain is, it's going to hit you like a train track really soon, because it's going to, just like the internet, change our lives forever in the last 20 years. Blockchain will change everything we do in the next 10, 20 years. But that's topic for next year discussion. But the third area with the smartest people in the world go to is CO2 recapture. So, 1/3 of the smartest people in the world are out there trying to figure out how do we undo what we have done with the damage with CO2. Now, miracles take time, so we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, Genova, is coming to Genova, wants to do its part. So we want to contribute to helping the planet. And it's my privilege and pleasure to introduce the Energy Data Valley Initiative. That was one of the 35 initiatives that the Ambassadors of Genova put together, and the 3 were selected. This is the one that we're launching tonight. And Energy Data Valley, we just signed the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding upstairs, and we're going to roll it out over the next 2 or 3 months. And it's a partnership between public and private companies to develop solutions to help us transition to a better world, to a better green world. And in Energy Data Valley, we have a vision. And this vision is that only global collaboration, what we're here to do tonight, will solve global warming. It's not going to be a company, it's not going to be a country, it's not going to be Silicon Valley. It's going to be that we all have to get together to solve this problem. And when you look at the energy sector, of course there are thousands of companies that build point products. Somebody that knows how to build the best solar panel in the world. Somebody's building the best way to bring that energy to the house, and so on and so forth. But if you're a government, like the city of Genoa, or pick your country, your favorite country in the world, you want to buy a complete solution. You don't have the resources to put these things together. Okay? And so our mission at ADV is to foster an ecosystem of best-in-breed companies that come together to be innovative solution to help accelerate the move to green energy. So I, for one, I've been driving an electric car, I'll tell you this story, for 10 years. And I felt really good about myself, because I'm doing my part for the environment, right? But then I started to think, where is the electricity coming from that powers my car? Because if it comes from a plant that generates emissions, I'm not really helping the environment. Right? And so, an electric car is just one of the many applications of electricity, of course. And this is one that is going to grow tremendously in the next 10 years. If you look at the consumption of electricity in the world, it's going to go up 30% just in the next 3 to 5 years. Right? So what we need as a world to transition to a virtual cycle. A virtual cycle that creates a solution that goes from how you generate green energy, how you transport green energy to where it needs to be consumed, how you store green energy, because you cannot use the solar energy during the day, or wind power when there's no wind, right? So you need to store it somewhere, then be able to help consume that energy, and then connect it all the way to local grids. Without local grids, there are small buildings, houses, offices that generate their own power, and then if there is extra, they can put it back in. And we have to do this side by side with existing infrastructure, because we're not going to be able to flip the switch and go to green technology overnight. Now you notice in our name, we have energy and data. Why is that? Because data has a huge role in this equation. Because in this digital world, once you digitalize the information about something, like in this case energy, then you can do intelligent data management. You can monitor what's going on. So for example, if we all plug our electric car at night at the same time, there's no network that is going to be able to sustain that. Right? So we need to know, who needs the electricity the most, move the electricity there, and so on and so forth. So data is going to be very important. And of course, the moment you digitalize the business, you're then vulnerable to cyber attacks. So cybersecurity is going to be a huge ingredient in the energy data valley equation. So here's, really quickly, and we're 5 minutes from dinner, for a great dinner here in the Aquarium of Genova. These are the top services that we plan to provide at Energy Data Valley. The first one is to help the companies that are coming together in this consortium, in this foundation, to build what we talked about earlier, turnkey solution. The second one, once the solutions are available, we're going to help them promote them as to the people that need it, and help these companies find public tender and help them find this public tender. And finally, every single government in the world is allocating funds for green energy, so we're going to help them find those funds so that they can accelerate their R&D and get there faster. So tonight, it is my absolute pleasure to announce the promoting members of the Energy Data Valley that just signed an MOU upstairs. On the public side of things, we have the city of Genova, the region of Liguria, and the University of Genova. And then on the private side, we are delighted to have some of the most prestigious energies company in Italy, like Salto Energia, Enel, ERG, Ford, Iren, and team. So, just to give you a perspective, we're talking tens of thousands of people that are working on green energy and thousands of patents already filed. So this is what we're talking about. We want to bringing people together, bringing companies together, so that the sum of the parts is bigger than each of them together. So then the last question, why Genova? By now, you've spent 2 days in Genoa, you experienced the Genovese hospitality, you've seen the city, but let me give you some more details. We talk about the geographic location, strategically placed between Africa, the Mediterranean, and Europe. We are about to launch the Genova Internet Data Exchange. Again, another initiative around data and using data for progress. I should know this, but either they're already here or about to land. We're going to have the sub-oceanic internet connection that comes from Asia through Africa into Genova, and we know from experience that cities that have this tend to generate an ecosystem of companies that, because of the latency, because of the access to data, will provide a vibrant ecosystem for data type of applications. We are nearby some amazing universities, like University of Genoa, we talked about earlier, that is one of the top 4 labs in the world for local grids, how we can generate electricity at the periphery of the network. And then the Politecnico Torino, Milano, Sofia Antipolis. And why is this important? It's something that in America is like a religion for us. Nothing happens unless you have talents, unless you have young people, young engineers and mathematicians that come in and help us solve hard problems. And finally, the climate, right? This seems like a small thing, but whenever you talk about why Silicon Valley is so successful, they always bring up, access to the capital, university, and a beautiful climate. And so we have that in Genoa as well. So tonight, I want you to get to know the ambassador who kind of kickstart this initiative. So if you can raise your hand, you've seen Francesca, you've seen Alessandra. So can you raise your hands? Raise your hands. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Raise your hand. Okay, so make a hand now. Big round of applause. action. We need your help. So you saw the people in the room. Please engage with us. Give us feedback. If you're aware of an initiative in your own country that did something like this, help us, because we want to stand, as they say, on the shoulder of giants and learn from other people as well. And then the ultimate call to action: join us. Join us in this initiative, so that we get together 5 years from now and we look at this damn chart again. And if we did the right things, we'll zoom out and we made a dent. And all it was just a blip. And we're going to leave our kids, the world, in a better place than we found it. Thank you very much.